This podcast is part of the C-Suite Radio Network, turning the volume up on business.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Kirkpatrick, and welcome to the Executive Job Search Secret Podcast. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you about why LinkedIn is more important now than ever. We all know most executive level positions are not posted or advertised. So the big question is this: if those 100K plus jobs are not posted or advertised, how do you go about your job search in a way so you can find the right companies, connect with the right people, and land your next ideal opportunity as quickly as possible and without compromise? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Chris Kirkpatrick, and welcome to Executive Job Search Secrets. All right, so I'm excited to talk about this. If you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, any of my episodes, you understand that I'm a big believer in the power of LinkedIn. I think that LinkedIn is one of the most underused, misused, misunderstood tools when it comes to the job search marketplace, and how a job seeker can actually go from being a reactive to a proactive seeker, can go from being in a position of, being an underling, so to speak, to a position of power and understanding how to market themselves, brand themselves, position themselves to be a solutions provider, position themselves to be a thought leader, to position themselves to be an expert, all these different things. They're all absolutely valid. I've been preaching this. I talk about it in my book. I give absolute examples. I have a course called the LinkedIn Networking Academy that really coaches people step by step how to maximize the power and the tools on LinkedIn to get real results. But I'll tell you what, I just had a conversation with somebody today, a gentleman named Gleb, and he is, it's really hard for me to explain what he does, but he's written a couple books, and he's part of the C-Suite Radio Network as well, and we were talking. I'm actually going to have him on and do some interviews with him because my conversation with him was just enlightening and eye-opening. And I'm going to put a couple links in the comments below in the description for the podcast. I'm going to do a couple links for his book because he basically is an expert when it comes to cognitive biases. And so if we all have our own cognitive biases that we kind of enter situations with, and there's a lot of information out there on what cognitive biases is. And when I was talking to him, he is actually one of the world leaders and speakers and coaches and researchers on not just what is cognitive biases and understanding it and understanding that we all have them, but he is focused on understanding what do we do with them? How do we make sure that, I hope I'm saying this right, but how do we make sure we don't self-sabotage or self-destruct or make bad decisions around our cognitive biases and be destructive? And to our businesses, I should say, and to ourselves, to our relationships, to anything. In his latest book, he's actually got a book released speaking about reacting to the COVID situation that we're in right now. And he talks about job seeking a little bit. And in the world that he's in, he's done a lot of research on this. And what he told me, and I'm going to research this more, but it's fascinating, but he told me that because of the COVID-19 situation, that technology has been moved far forward, meaning the importance of going virtual. And one of the biggest gaps of senior executive leaders right now is the ability to operate virtually, is to be able to know how to communicate and operate a business in a virtual environment. Because quite frankly, if you've been in the executive world for 20, 30 years, you haven't had to deal with that. And now it's really changing the landscape of business, of job seekers, of how we connect with each other. And here's the other thing. A lot of people once upon a time, when they weren't working virtually, they had different expectations. And so I believe that this COVID-19 environment has pushed our technology need 5 to 10 years into the future, has pushed our acceptance of virtual meetings, acceptance of utilizing social media as an actual formal official way to reach out, has pushed it forward 5 to 10 years. And I say that because whereas people before, I would always say the goal is to bring a relationship from LinkedIn or online to offline. The goal was to meet somebody on LinkedIn, have a conversation, build the relationship, have your connection and engage with them and create that I guess relationship online. But the goal was ultimately to bring that relationship offline and to take that relationship to having a live networking environment. But here's the deal. Now it can go much faster. It can be better. And if you look at it that way, you can take the relationship from online to online, and it's just saying, hey, rather than let's meet at a Starbucks, or let's meet at my office, or let's meet somewhere locally, now it can just be, let's do a Zoom meeting. And those can happen, boom, on the fly. And that's fantastic. And the reality is, if you go back and you listen to my podcast on ageism that I did a couple episodes ago, that is so true when you think about it, in the context that people aren't really concerned about your age. They're concerned about your relevancy. They're concerned about your ability to be the right fit for the culture, right? And if you are not in tune with social media, with LinkedIn, with doing Zoom meetings, with your ability and willingness to go completely virtual, you're going to be fighting a real uphill battle at this point in time when it comes to your career. Now, the reality behind everything right now is we don't really know the future. We don't know what it looks like. I think nobody's going to argue that technology is moving forward really quickly. I've actually spoken to a couple software developers who are creating technology right now to enable businesses. It literally launched. There's this really cool company. I'm not allowed to say who it is, but I got on a beta call with them the other day, and they're launching software that is going to allow teams to operate virtually. So employees that can work from home, they're going to be able to be in an office, kind of like a Zoom meeting, but where you can file share, you can hop in and out. So it's like you're all going to be in the same office and have access to the same resources in the cloud and be able to share files back and forth. So think of a car dealership. That's what they use for an example. It was fascinating where it goes from one department to another. You could have one person at the car dealership and then the other people working at home, like the finance people, so on and so forth, and you just push files around. It was really, really fascinating for me to see. But the most fascinating part to that was the adaptability and the resourcefulness of people to realize a challenge and really quick on the fly create a solution to that problem, right? That's where value comes from. And so what I would say is your willingness and openness to kind of embrace that idea with open arms is going to be really key to your success. Now, kind of getting back to the point about LinkedIn and where we're going and your openness to this technology and willingness to kind of put yourself out there, is that more people, LinkedIn has been a successful platform, but I think now with over its 500 million people on it and a lot of executives, I think most executives are there, a higher percentage of people on LinkedIn are actually engaging on LinkedIn right now, are actually there and paying attention to it. So you're going to be able to have access. You'll be able to reach people on a level that you never were able to reach them and connect with them. So now it's not a matter of can you reach them or are they actually going to be paying attention, because a higher percentage of people are. The question is, are you going to be able to stand out? And it's really important. And whereas a lot of senior leaders used to look at people on LinkedIn and not really get it, and not really understand why people would waste their time on LinkedIn, or they didn't understand the importance of it, those people are now understanding the importance of it, and they're looking at it and saying, okay, it's no longer those crazy weird people that are setting up appointments and doing Zoom meetings after these LinkedIn conversations or whatever. It's becoming the new normal. And it's, once again, becoming a solution to a problem that everybody has. We have that need to connect with people. We have that need to network. And, none of us want to stop the growth of ourselves, of our careers, of our businesses, what have you. So how can we make sure that we're really pushing this forward? And this technology with LinkedIn and then connecting through Zoom meetings and following that is absolutely an essential component to your success right now. So if you haven't done it, I would make sure that you go and you optimize your LinkedIn profile, that you go and you make sure you have all the components of your LinkedIn profile optimized and lined in, dialed in, but that it's more than just making sure your resume is on there. It's about making sure that your brand is articulated properly, communicated properly, but it's about your engagement. It's about being a person of service, being a person of value. I always say that your brand is nothing more than what people say about you when you're not there. So getting on LinkedIn right now, you can literally access everybody that you've known in the past and get in front of them to build your brand. If you're looking for a job, it's always best to start with your warm network. Well, guess what? What better way, instead of cold calling your whole warm network and just kind of reaching out of the blue, which takes a ton of time and a ton of effort and a ton of planning, and for a lot of people it creates a ton of anxiety. What better way than to just reach out with a simple message on LinkedIn, connect with them, and then let your service, let your engagement, let your content that you create, and let your opinion that you share be the needle that pushes, the results, right? Like, that is what it's all about. And so right now, what I would say is that there's a couple ways that you can go about your job search. If you're actively looking for a job and you're not on LinkedIn, or even if you are on LinkedIn and you're not putting a couple hours a day into actively and proactively building your brand, connecting with people, engaging with comments and content that other people in your industry that you are looking to develop a relationship with are doing, then you are totally missing the boat. You are shooting yourself in the foot, and you're going to put yourself behind the 8 ball. Remember, with what's going on in the world right now, companies have let a lot of people go. There are more unemployed people right now in this country than we've ever had. Over 40 million unemployed Americans right now, which is crazy. It's crazy. I don't even know what the number is worldwide, but just in America, 40 million unemployed people. And that's only the people that are filing for unemployment. That doesn't include all the people who are just without a job or, whatever. So that's 40 million people right now. So that means the market has never been more competitive. That means as companies have let these people go and the unemployment ranks have increased, what do we have going on in the world? Well, companies are going more virtual. That's going back to the beginning of this conversation. And they are creating an environment where they're realizing they don't need as many employees. They can be more efficient, right? So while unemployment got up to just over 20%, and they're talking about it being down to 13% right now, I don't even think it's that low, honestly, in my opinion, but let's say it's 13%. We were at just about 4% before we started. I don't think we're going to see 4% unemployment for a long time, simply because I don't think the jobs are even going to exist. Companies are going to try to be more lean, they're going to be trying to be more efficient, and they're going to be far more selective. And so what better way than making sure that you enhance your branding and positioning in the market than on LinkedIn and connecting with people. So LinkedIn is the only place that you should be focusing. You got to be spending your time there. So that's why I would say it's more important now than ever. And once again, if you have any questions, if you struggle with LinkedIn, if you don't know how to optimize it, if you're overwhelmed by the technology or overwhelmed by the strategy, if you don't know what to say in reaching out to people, if you don't know how to identify and target key companies and decision makers, that's the beautiful part here. Once again, let me just end with this, and I'll give you kind of two major channels that you need to be focusing on to be able to find your ideal position. Number one, you need to start with the people you know, because the people you know, your warm network, so to speak, even if they were from years ago, relationships that you had with coworkers years ago, reach out to them, connect with them on LinkedIn, just see how they're doing. Just even if you just connect with them and then they just kind of are able to see your profile and you're intentionally building that profile, and then you reach out to them and you see how you can add value to them, that's going to go a long ways for you. And the people that have had that positive brand experience of who you are in the past are going to be more likely to want to help you from here forward, right? So that's the first place to start. The second place to start is the cold market. Now, the cold market is saying, Let me ask you this, and I just want you to think about this. Could you list off 5 companies that you'd be excited to work with right now? Could you? I actually usually ask for 10, but I'm just going to ask for 5 in this episode right now. And the answer is, if you couldn't list 5 or 10 companies that you'd be excited, not companies that have a job posting, but companies that just you could rip off by name and make a list and said, okay, if there was an opportunity at that company, is it available? If there were an opportunity available at that company right now, would I be excited to work there? If you can't say, list off 5 to 10 specific companies, I would say that you have some challenges and you need to get on the phone and speak with somebody and get some help. If you can list them, then you want to build that list, and then you want to be able to have a process and a system that identifies similar companies within your restrictive guidelines, and then you want to be able to find the key decision makers, executives, and hiring managers inside of that company. And so that's a process, I think, that is the most important thing to start with. And then when you go from LinkedIn, you're going to be able to take those 2 channels of the cold market and your warm market, and you're going to be able to connect with them on LinkedIn, and then you're going to be able to market yourself and brand yourself to them and cultivate relationships with them. And then you're going to find that if you handle it and you come at it from the right perspective, you're going to get more results. You're going to be differentiated in the marketplace, and you're not going to be one of the 13%, 15%, 20%, whatever that number is right now. You're not going to be in those unemployment ranks for long, because you're going to be a problem solver, and people are going to see you as the investment opportunity that you are to help their company solve the problems that they're looking to solve right now. So anyway, I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense. I know it's a lot. I covered a lot more in this episode than I planned on. I kind of went on a rant, so I apologize if it got a little bit long-winded. But I am passionate about this, and I believe this is one of the most important overlooked things in the market right now. So I really encourage you to think about it, and I really encourage you to take action. If you need help with LinkedIn, definitely reach out. We have, I think, in my humble opinion, I think we have probably one of the best LinkedIn teams and programs in the world. You can get our book, ExecutiveJobSearchSecrets.com is where you're going to go to get that. I think there's going to be a promo at the end of this, so check it out. But I do have a special offering. If you get the free book, there's going to be a special offering for, I think, an 80% discount is what we got going on for the LinkedIn Networking Academy, which I'm only offering right now because of everything that's going on. So go check it out if you're interested, if you think you need help in that capacity, and we would be happy and just honored to serve you. So you go out, make it just an amazing day and crush it, and I will talk to you on the next podcast. God bless. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you were able to find some value in this episode. And I'm so excited to announce that I just launched my first book, Executive Job Search Secrets. You can get your copy for $19.99 going over to Amazon.com right now. Or, because of everything that's happening in the world right now with COVID, all the uncertainty, the high unemployment rates, I've actually purchased 1,000 copies of this book, and I'm going to send a copy to the first 1,000 people that want to take advantage of this free offer. I'm on a mission to help people get positive results in their job search, and I know that the information in this book will make a positive impact in your life. So with that, I've ordered 1,000 copies. I've paid for them. I want to send a free copy to everybody that wants to take advantage of this offer. All I ask of you is to cover the $8.95 for shipping and handling, and I will do the rest. I will get a copy right out to you in the mail as quickly as possible. All you have to do is go to ExecutiveJobSearchSecrets.com, enter your information, click the button, and I will send it right out to you. And I hope you have the best of luck with your search. Go out and crush it, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Like what you just heard? Visit c-suiteradio.com. C-Suite Radio, turning the volume up on business.